Today, fabulous scholars, Eek and I are ready to do some gardening. While it's still too cold to plant seeds or plants outside, now is the perfect time for getting things started inside. All you need is some containers. I'm using an old plastic food container and some dirt. Oh yeah, and some seeds. In this case, Eek and I are planting green beans. And so we're following the directions on the package and we're planting them. We'll cover this with dirt. The tricky part is when the plants start to grow, then eventually they will need to go into different pots or outside in the ground because this is still a little too close for the plants to be happy when they're really growing. Then, of course, following the directions on the seed packet, we covered up the seeds with the right amount of dirt and watered them and put them in a place where they're going to get lots of sun. With Eek's help and my cat Maud's help, I was able to plant quite a bit. Lots of green beans, but then some spearmint and basil and catgrass. Maud insisted on that, as well as some morning glories and zinnias. We'll see if they start to grow. The package is said in 7 to 14 days, so I'll have to be patient and keep watering the dirt, but hopefully something will start to grow. Although sometimes it doesn't. That empty pot was actually full of seeds that Eek and I planted back in December, and nothing has grown. I've watered it, hoping that maybe something will start to sprout, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Sometimes that is just what happens, fabulous scholars. The good news is now I can use that pot for planting something else. Besides planting seeds, one of the other things you can do to get new plants is to take cuttings from plants you already have. Now, before you do this, check with your parents because not all plants do cuttings. And if you cut off too little or too much, nothing happens. Just about right is a little bit over the length of two of your hands, or about a hand and a half for an adult. And ivies, pothos, and spider plants always work really well for doing cuttings. But again, check with your parents. Once you've cut off part of a vine, it usually helps to cut off or pull off the few bottom leaves. The leaves themselves, a single leaf, isn't going to grow roots, but the bottom part of the vine where you pulled off the leaves can grow roots. Of course, you need to put the cuttings in water. A simple glass or plastic container would work just fine. A small vase would also work. And then watch. It'll take a week or two, but eventually you'll see some bumps on the bottom, and then they'll get longer and longer and longer, and then you'll have roots. And then your cuttings are new plants ready to be planted. Here's a cutting from a spider plant that Eek and I put into water about a week and a half ago. And you can see the roots are growing on the bottom. I'm going to leave it in the water a little bit longer and let the roots get a little bit longer, but it's almost ready to plant. If you don't have any seeds at home or any plants that you could do a cutting of, or your parents just say no, look at the food you eat for other ideas of things that you could plant. Lots of fruits have seeds. Lots of other plants you could do cuttings of, like pineapples or uncooked potatoes. The internet has lots and lots of great ideas. So if you have a plant food that you think could grow, check the internet and find out what it says. I am going to try some apple seeds and see what happens. According to the internet, apple seeds need to be cold for a long time before they'll germinate or start to grow. It recommended putting the apple seeds on a wet paper towel inside a plastic bag and leave a little bit of an opening in the plastic bag, but then put it in the refrigerator for 6 weeks or so until you see the seeds start to grow. So Eek and I are willing to give it a chance. I mean, after all, crazy schemes, sometimes you just got to try them and see if they work. But it did remind me, if you don't have any dirt, but you do have seeds, paper towels, wet paper towels, make great growing places too. You could put it on a plastic bag or in a plastic bag or in a container. Just make sure that you keep watering it from time to time because if it dries out, the seeds won't grow. I'm hopeful that the seeds that Eek and Maud and I planted will grow in the next couple of weeks, but if they don't, I've got plenty of cuttings to watch as well. Good luck with your growing, scholars, and I hope that you soon see some green things to brighten up these gray days that we've been having. Good luck with your crazy scheme.